Hey guys, Jess with Peekaboo Wreath. Let's make our bow for our rustic red and burlap and green wreath. Okay, this is going to be a big ribbon bow, and we have lots of pretty ribbons that are all in that same color scheme with all the greens and reds and burlaps, all the things. We even have this really pretty one that's got this really pretty woven trim on it. So we're going to start with our burlap because we just don't have enough chances to use this pretty 4.5-inch ribbon. I love it. It is nice and rustic. It gives all the feels that we're going for. We're gonna do a big 14-inch tail. You know why? Because you can always, it's kind of like hair, right? You can cut more off, but you can never put back more on. So we're gonna make that big tail. We're gonna try to squish these Bowdabra parts together. I know yesterday we were having some issues. Our ribbons were coming out. Goodness gracious. I don't know what was happening, but it was not good. Let me tell you that. All right. So we're making this a little bit over 6 inches. It's about 6.5 inches, which is slightly bigger than we normally do. Even though this is a solid ribbon, we're still doing the same technique of kind of twisting it as we put it through our bow maker. Just because even though ribbons are solid, here, let me make sure that we're in a camera angle here. Even though the ribbon is solid, sometimes it can have like an exposed wire or something like that. So we want to make sure that we are not showing that. The pretty side should be facing up. Okay, you don't have to twist your ribbon like this, but I don't know, somehow we got a little bit twisted here. So we're making both of our loops the same length on both sides. We want them to match as much as possible in length. That's why a self-healing mat is helpful, or a mat with measurements on it. So we're just pulling this out. We can kind of eyeball it, or we can use our measurements on our board to make sure that the loops are the same. They're nice and big. This is going to be the focal point of our wreath, so it's totally okay that those loops are nice and big and bold and in charge. Okay, so we're just gonna cut that off. We're going to dovetail this, and then we're gonna move on to our next ribbon. Okay, so let's see. So next, so what I really like is that we do have all these greens and all the reds, all the things, as they say. I think what I'm gonna do with this, I don't have a ton of it, so I'm gonna start it on here, because we are just going to do one loop on each side of this one. Since this does have red on the top and green on the bottom, technically you could treat it as a directional ribbon to make sure that the green is on top on both sides, but I really don't think it matters that much. We're pulling in our ribbons to make them about 1/2 inch shorter with the tails and with the loops than the set beforehand. Like I said, here we got red on top, green on the bottom. I don't think it really matters much. I think it looks beautiful either way, so I think we're good on that. Okay, we just want to make sure our loops are the same on both sides. All right, so we're just going to cut that tail. You guys, I thought my Bowdabra was gonna stay together. I bought a new one, and I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I'm just like not looking at this right, and I can just push these together and everything will be fine. But I think it's just a little stretched out because, as you can see, my ribbons are trying to escape already. It could have something to do with this 4-inch burlap ribbon being so thick. I mean, that is quite possible. I don't know, but we're gonna do the best that we can here. All right, so let's see. So we got 2 and then 1, and then we have this really pretty Merry Christmas. It has some glitter on it. It has the holly berries, and you know what? I know that we're going with rustic here, but I just love this. And I wanna make sure that it's kind of a focal point here. So we're gonna be putting our Merry Christmas facing down here. And then this is what's called a directional ribbon, which means like if I turn this, then the Merry Christmas sentiment will be upside down. We don't want that. So I'm going to be tying this one by hand. So let me just slide this over a little bit, and then we're just going to slide it down into our Bowdabra. So I'm making those loops about 5 inches, making sure our tail is hanging down. And we're just gonna tie this by hand, and then we're gonna place it down our Bowdabra, like I said. So the reason I do it by hand on this is because otherwise the Merry Christmas wording will be facing upside down, and we don't want that. So we're just trying to make our loops as even as possible and making sure that our wording is facing the right way. And every time I build a bow, even partially by hand, it reminds me of why I don't like to do that. I love using Bowdabras because I'm not the best at doing it. And you know what? It's all about knowing our strengths and our weaknesses, working on our weaknesses so that they become more like strengths. But you know what? In the meantime, if you have something that can help you, then do that, you know? You know what I mean? All right, so we got it down in our Bowdabra. I'm just kind of straightening out my loops, making sure that they're nice and even, making sure that everything is looking the way that it should, and it does. Trying to squeeze these together a little bit. All right, I'm gonna dovetail this end. There we go. All right, this one's a little longer, so let me fix that while I'm thinking about it. All right, so we did 2, 1, 2. Now we're gonna come through with 1. I'm gonna see which of my ribbons I wanna use. I think I wanna use this solid one. It's so pretty. It has the same green as that one that we used right here. And it has red on the border. So many pretty choices when it comes to ribbons. It's so fun because you can mix and match different colors, different tones. But if you do notice, I used a solid to begin with. Then I used something that had a little bit of a pattern on it. Then I used the Merry Christmas one that has a lot of pattern. And now we're doing a solid again. So even though it does look like, you know, just lots of goodies, there is a rhyme and a reason behind what we're doing here, right? Oh, Bowdabra, you're doing me wrong again, separating too much. I don't like it. You're making all my ribbons fall out. Have you guys ever seen that meme that says, if you see me talking to myself, just know that I'm having a company meeting? Have you guys ever seen that? I love it. It's too funny. All right, moving on. Okay, so we are not gonna let that Bowdabra separating keep us from adding more ribbons to our bow. All right, so let's see, we can add this one on. Or, yes, I think I wanna do that. This is red. It has a really pretty woven, like a stitched edge, which is so pretty. So we're gonna do 2. We're making sure that we twist it as we put it in, making sure that we bring our loops in about a 1/2 inch on each side from the layer beforehand. And then I think after this one, I think what we're gonna do. We might do one more, or we might just have this be our last one. My Bowdabra is having some capacity issues. You guys will have to let me know. If you use a ribbon maker, what kind of ribbon maker do you use? Gotta let me know. Could just be the burlap ribbon, because I feel like it doesn't normally do this. All right, and then I think we're gonna put like a pine cone or a jingle bell or something right in the middle there. So we're gonna leave it blank. Normally we would put like a little bump right there. Please stay. All right, we're gonna dovetail that gently. Oh my goodness, this is not good. All right, let me stick that back in. Making sure we twist it, finding the spot where this was over here, putting it down, making sure my loops look good. All right, And then we're gonna take our pipe cleaner. I usually take about 1 inch here, just fold it like that. And that's what I'm gonna wrap around the middle of our bow stack here. Okay, these are all wired ribbons. I just take my hand and I carefully pinch it all very tightly, lift it out of that bow maker, and then I take that little hook part, I move my thumb quickly, and then I just grab around to the back and then hold it as tightly as I can, and then twist, 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 probably 4 or 5 times to make sure it's nice and secure, because you don't want anything falling out there, okay? And then I keep my thumb right here in the middle so that when I pull all of my tails down, I can do it nice and firmly without having any type of concern that my ribbons are gonna pull out of where they need to be. Okay, I'm just pulling them down in the order that I placed them. Okay, and because we did vary the lengths, we're still able to see all the different ones. Okay, as I said before, we're gonna be putting a little ornament or pine cone right there in the middle. Okay, we're going through, we're just taking our loops, putting our fingers in them, and just spreading them out. Okay, we do use, as I said, wired ribbon so that it's gonna stay for us. Just put your fingers in, fluff it out, and there you go. Nice and full, nice and fluffy, and perfect for our rustic red and green wreath. There you go. Perfect. All right, thanks so much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.